I love seeing all my friends' names pop up. It makes me feel so good. So for tonight, we are going to be doing our latest collab with TMI Gifts. So I watched a panel, and I guess I'll talk while I work, but that probably makes sense. I watched an SEO panel that Etsy did recently, and they pulled 5 listings and gave, like, you know, significant feedback. And I'm going to talk about it as we're going. I actually had notes, and of course I don't have them. Read a low 80s. Oh, poor thing. Kim 81, 70s and beautiful. You guys, Donna, you're in Kentucky. I feel like there's other parts of the country that are also dealing with cold weather right now. I'm trying to think of, it was somewhere that I didn't expect. I thought it was Midwest, but I am like, geography is like definitely not my strong suit. So for tonight, we're going to be doing another great kit with TMI Gifts. I looked earlier, there was 1 kit left. So if you were interested, if you like all the materials, then you can get the kit, use promo code KARA20 and save 20% off of the kit or your entire purchase. So what I love about this kit, there's like, I mean, like I had to like put it in like a separate container. If you are somebody who's not super confident about like pairing greenery, we have 5 different types, we have 5 different types of greenery, 2 of each. So there's 10 bushes of different greenery that pair together beautifully. So if anything, we might actually have some left over once we're done with this wreath, but we'll see. Oh, I have not been to Hobby Lobby. This is Wild Rabbit Wreaths. On this episode of spending other people's money, you're gonna like trigger me. Oh my gosh. Oh, Sonia, yeah, if your husband's military, then I don't think you have a choice but to be early. Like early, I can't even do on time, let alone early. So what I figured was we'll start with the bow, and then I'm gonna move the camera in a little bit, and we're gonna design our beautiful lime cream wreath. And I went with a lime cream wreath because the SEO experts at Etsy said that that is one of their trending themes or color themes for 2025. Okay, so this kit came with 3 different ribbons. Okay, so we're gonna start off with this 2.5 inch cream ribbon. Oh, I want to keep them on. So this is a bow wrangler from one of our amazing members, Marion, who owns Garden Charm Gardens. I swear I had that earlier, like right. I had that right in my mind, but now of course I'm drawing a blank. So Marion is one of those fancy schmancy bow masters, and her husband is just probably the best guy, the most loving husband, best engineer. And so he actually helps her come up with tools to make her job easier. So Marion's somebody who uses multiple ribbons. So he came up with this, and actually I'm missing the pieces. So it's on this little, we're gonna say it's a hexagon. It's a shape. And in between each roll, you have this little disc that holds it in place. I know every time I use this, Marion's probably like, oh my gosh, like let me do it. And you know what I would say to that, Marion? Do it. I want that video from you, because no one's gonna do it like you're gonna do it. So anyways, so you get to stack your ribbons like this if you're somebody who uses multiple ribbons, and then it holds everything in place. Okay, so I'm using this today, and we're gonna start off with our cream colored 2.5 inch wide ribbon. It's wired, always gotta go with the wired. So we're gonna use the Easy Bow Maker for this. When it comes to doing bows with like a lot of different fabrics, my hands just kill if I try and hold them, so I do rely on this. If it's something with just one ribbon or whatever, I can do it, you know, without it. But this is like my little crutch, and I'm okay with that. And as Sonia calls it, it's both bow-thritis, which is like when you have arthritis from making bows. Yes, snag that one. Kit, hey Macy, how are you? Close up on the ribbons. I can definitely do a picture after, if that's not, and actually I'm gonna move everything closer like once we get to the wreath making part. So the kit is $150, but then when you apply the discount code, it's more like, I think it's $120, okay? And also anybody who was looking for those fern sprays, last week or the week before I did a live and I had these sprays and I had so many people follow up with questions. There are 2 left, okay? Because I'm a creep. I go on to TMI Gifts website and I look to see like how many you can put in your cart. So there were 2 left and I bought like 6. I actually used 3 of them last night to make like an all greenery wreath and they're like perfection. So 2 left if you want them. All right, so to get started on our bow, we're gonna start with our ivory 2.5-inch ribbon. I'm gonna leave the tail probably like 18 inches long. There's a lot of times that I put a bow like more on the center. This one's gonna be kind of like a side support, okay? So it's not gonna be the star of the show. The peonies that we're using are huge and I want it to be like a really natural look, okay? Yes. All right, so on the Easy Bow Maker, I am going to use a recipe that one of our amazing members in our membership group has recommended, which is 3, 2, and 3. So, okay, I'm gonna put the ribbon through the dowel and I'm gonna make sure that the front side is facing down. I am gonna measure 5 inches. No. Nay, we're gonna go 6 inches. All right, I'm gonna measure 6 inches and I like to just kind of like press it. Okay, so the Easy Bow Maker, like one of the benefits is it's easy. So it has like the ruler on here so that you're not having to like measure things out and make sure that you're even. So we're gonna start by measuring a 6-inch loop. I like to press it down just to make the measurement correct. And then when you send it back through the dowels, you're gonna give it a really crisp twist. I had such a struggle with this forever, and it was because if you don't really twist the ribbon, the middle of it ends up really thick, and also the loops don't have like that nice crisp, like, you know, start and finish. So again, it goes through, face side down, front side down, 6 inches. And if you have measured correctly the first time, you don't need to keep measuring. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to repeat this 2 more times so we end up with 6 of these ivory loops. Oh, Gina, do you love them? Hi, Carolina, how are you? Yeah, I love them. I honestly, like, it took some restraint not to like buy more, but I was like, I can't be that person. I can't just like hog them all. So TMI Gifts is going to try and restock even after, you know, like the 2 that are left are gone, because that is a great greenery. It has so much on it. It has, you know, let me see, it has like fern, eucalyptus, then it also has like some like little berry bushes. There's a lot going on there. All right. So making 6 of these 6-inch loops. All right, just twisting as we go. Okay, and then we are going to have our tail, and I want it to match in general around the same length. So I picked up a little tip for anybody that's got like ribbon that's like everywhere. So Target sells these little map tacks, you know, like whether you're tracking a serial killer or you're just pointing out where you want to go in your life. Hopefully it's the latter. But these little tacks, instead of having a bunch of like long, like pincushion needles, these are just these tiny little things and they keep all your ribbon super organized. So when I'm done with the ribbon, I just get it back against its roll and then I take it and it's It's sharp, but it's not as sharp as like a needle. All right, so now we're gonna go to our second ribbon, which is this green and white check. Okay, it's lime because we're going with the lime cream theme that Etsy is suggesting. So you know when Etsy's suggesting something, they're really giving you a heads up of like, this is what we're going to push, you know, customers to use, which is great. It's great that they tell us that. It's great that they're doing it. All that good stuff. All right, so we're gonna start off on the same side, and I'm gonna make 2 sets of loops, so we're gonna have 4 of these. All right, so for this, I'm gonna measure 5 inches. Oh, 70s, come on. TMI gifts, I swear, if you ask, they listen. Like, we asked for greenery, we asked for the florals, we asked for more of those like ridiculously beautiful peonies, like they deliver. So if you want to talk about like great customer service, it truly is like TMI gifts. Like I 100% feel that. And I appreciate it. Because when you have great customer service, you end up feeling like a sense of loyalty because like they kind of have your back. And as small business owners, I think they do have our back. So I am quite enamored with TMI gifts. And I want to say, I was practicing Lori's bows, not this week, but last week. And she had this one video where, and she moves fast, that one, okay? I will say that. I mean, not only can she hold everything with one hand, she dovetails with one hand, but she moves fast. So I watched the video and I had to keep pausing and rewinding because like Lori has her own bow style, and I actually made a few bows that were like, not as good as hers, but similar. And would you know, I tried to make a Lori bow today and it was like blah. So I have to start over. So if ever you're feeling discouraged that things aren't clicking, I mean, literally like go and watch things over and over again and pause them, because I'm not speaking for Lori, but for anybody, I think the more we practice, the more things look natural. Like they just come naturally, muscle memory. It looks easy, but it wasn't always easy. You know, just like when I look back at wreaths I made in the beginning, like they're rough. I mean, my pricing was rough, they were rough, it was just not a good thing. At the time though, I was incredibly proud of them, and that's all that matters. It's like the foundation that helps your business grow. All right, let's see. So you have some new, let's see. So this is Lori, L-O-R-I-E. So I just go on YouTube to find her. Sometimes you can find it just, you know, like it crosses like your Facebook feed. All right, so we're gonna use this last lime green ribbon, okay? And I think it's 1 inch, I believe. Okay, 1.5 inches. All right, and we're gonna do 3 sets of loops for this. So I'm gonna set these around, I'm gonna set these for 4 inches each. Yeah, what I love about like this whole design world is everybody has their own way of doing things. There is no right or wrong. We all come up with our own like outcome exactly the way we want it. So, you know, like it's just, it always intrigues me how people figure out how to do things, but in such a different way. And that's the beauty of being, you know, inspired and creative. It's like you want to do things your own way. You don't want to have like a set of rules that if you're not doing it a particular way, it's wrong. Like Lori calls them Lori loops. Like Lori will make just one giant loop, like maybe with like a 4-inch ribbon. And that's like the backbone of the style of like many of her ribbon designs. So yeah, I would encourage you. So look on YouTube. You can also look on, you know, TMI Gifts, like social media, all that good stuff. All right, so I'm doing 3 sets of loops here, and they're at 4 inches each. Okay. measure out the tail. And then I'm gonna do one more. This is kind of called the button. I call it a juicy button and then I feel like weird about it. But so this one I don't really measure. I just want this to be like that center loop. So I'm just gonna kind of, it's probably 3 inches, but it's just going in its own direction. Okay. All right, trim that. Take my map tack thing and get this nice and neat again. Someone was saying that they're so OCD, like just when I think I've hit the max on OCD, someone actually has color coordinating map tacks so that the ribbon tack, they both match. I think that's amazing. All right, let's see. Let's see. Oh no, it was not. I appreciate your kindness. It was not fantastic. I actually have pulled the ribbon apart, I steamed it, and I'm gonna try again. So I'm not giving up by any means. I just know like it just wasn't where it's supposed to be. Okay, so right now, here we're at with our ribbons. I'm just gonna spread these out. I always feel like it's better to just spread them out before like you like really tighten them up and secure them. Okay, so right now I'm just putting them in different directions. I typically don't put loops down where like the tails are gonna go. I just feel like they interfere a little bit. And so yeah, I am romantic. It was my, let's see, we had our 14th wedding anniversary this week. Yes. Okay. So here we're at. This is my latest step and it's called Let's Take a Moment and Pray. I'm gonna take this off the Easy Bow Maker and I'm gonna be using my pointer finger and my thumb to kind of hold it secure. And then I'm gonna use a zip tie and get it right where the indentation is from the dowels. Okay. A moment of prayer. And honestly, it's normally fine. It's just sometimes I just wonder if I'm gonna have to do it over again. If you do pull it off the dowels and it starts to kind of like get a little loose, I would just throw it right back on the dowels and just start over. Like not start over the process, but just get your loops in order so that you're not having to start over from the beginning. Okay, so zip tails, zip ties. I know I said this in a video the other day, but I just found out my husband doesn't know how to use zip ties. So if you are familiar with me, you know I have my baby boy Bruno, who is 11 months now, German Shepherd. He has gone through our fence. He has busted up a bunch of the siding. Like, we bought him an indestructible ball that he like basically wears as a hat. I mean, he's a beast. And so when we were trying to put something over the fence to just like keep everyone contained, I brought out a bunch of zip ties because that's what I do. And my husband did not know how to use them. I was like, all right. So for the 2.5 inch ribbon, I like to dovetail. So when you're dovetailing, you're just folding it in half. And then you're cutting up at an angle towards the crease. Okay. And we're going to do this for all of our tails. For the smaller tails though, I like to just cut them diagonal. I mean, it's all personal preference with anything you do, but I just kind of like them like cut at an angle. So for these, okay, I'm just going to cut at an angle. I got a whole slew of ribbon from TMI Gifts today, and I am super excited because it is like a lot of Easter things. If you are like somebody who's selling, whether it's on Etsy, Facebook, wherever, and things feel a little slow, one of the nice things to do is to pivot. So say it just feels like people aren't spending a lot of money. You can find ways to like have people repurpose things, and making like big fancy bows it's got a great profit margin. So if you are, you know, again, saying like, is it me? It's probably, it's not you. It's just, it's a weird time right now, I think. So I am making some greenery wreaths and then just some bows for like every season. So basically someone could have, you know, whether they buy that greenery wreath for me or they do like the big box stores, which make me cringe. But anyways, it's like it's giving people the opportunity to continue to like celebrate each season. Like a lot of holidays and things, what means the most to me was like how it felt to me as a kid and then how I was able to make my daughter feel that way. So I want to help people do that. And one of the ways you can do it is just to say like, you don't need to break the bank. Like you don't need to have a separate wreath for every season. And it's great if people want to do that, but if they aren't in a position to do it, it's great to give them an alternative too. Like no one wants to feel stressed about that stuff. All right, so I'm just going through and I'm just fluffing as we go. And thank you, yes, happy anniversary. I love Bruno too, but oh, dang. The destruction is real. Like the siding on the back of our house he pulled a bunch of it down. If ever there was like a love test with my husband, it's that he is tolerating it. He's just a big, big boy. All right, so I'm fluffing up my loops. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of floral wire. You can use the chenille stem, whatever you want. I like to attach my bows to floral picks because I feel like it gives you a bit of control as far as like not getting like gobbled up by the flowers. Okay, so the bow isn't even our first step, but I feel like I just like to do it first so that when you're in like that design flow, you're not stopping. Like I feel like once I start with my flowers, I want to just kind of keep going. So I am going to take some floral wire. This is 22 gauge. Yes, ma'am. And I'm just going to tighten that. And then I'm going to take my floral pick and right where I have, like where all the loops meet, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around my floral pick until all the wire is used up and it's all secure. Bruno's only 11 months old. He headbutted me the other day. Like he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, and he had his paws like on my lap, and I was like, oh, this is so sweet. And all of a sudden he just boof. I had my glasses on too. He just boof, headbutted me so hard. I was like, you're so lucky, you're so cute, because it hurt like a mother. All right, so we have our loops fluffed pretty much. This is why we always use, you know, wired ribbon, because it can get smushed, it can get like crushed, but then you just fluff it right back into place. So if you're somebody who is interested in just selling bows alone, or you're selling wreaths with bows on them, I always stuff all the loops with some tissue paper. You know, it's a little bit of an expense, not a big one, but a little bit. But I think that our customers appreciate if they buy something from us online and when it shows up, it looks like what they bought, you know? So, okay. So here is our bow. Okay, we're gonna, again, put it to the side for now. And we are going to start with our first of 5 greens, which is our ruscus. And ooh, let me move the camera closer. So we have our wreath. This wreath is from TMI Gifts, so like there's pretty much no cleanup needed versus Michael's, where you are having to do a lot of work. As you guys know, I buy them by like the Michael's Pro, and I usually just wait till I have 15 really rough wreaths and then I return them. So anyways, TMI Gifts, you don't have to worry about that. Great quality. They don't have a bunch of leaves. They don't have a bunch of stuff in them. And I always love any grapevine that has like these thick gnarly pieces. I just feel like there's like a sense of I don't know, like history or whimsy. I don't know what it is, but I love it. Jackie, Ashley, just fun fact, is my wreath bestie. And I have watched her videos because she is also an amazing bow master. And I'm saying also because I said Marion was a bow master. I am far from a bow master. Ashley has a great approach to teaching, and I'm super, super proud of her. She is one of the presenters at Wreath Makers Live this year. And it's so well deserved because she's so sweet. I mean, she was like a kindergarten teacher or preschool teacher. And so she gets in real close and she talks to you and you're just like, I mean, I think she puts me under a spell. I love her. So yes, Ashley from Three Little Greenwoods is an excellent place to get wreath tutorials from as well. So the first greenery that we're going to use is we're going to go with the biggest first, which is typically how I like to design. So this is the ruscus. Okay, so I've purchased the ruscus with the kit, but I've also been purchasing it on the side because it is very, very lifelike. It has like the seeds, it has the right coloring, you know, just the whole thing. It looks very, very lifelike to me. Hello, Donna. How are you, my friend? So for the hanger, it's actually called grapevine wire, and I'm trying to think of where I get it. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it at Joann's. So there's like different versions of it because sometimes it has more of like a twine over it. But like this one, I mean, it looks exactly like the grapevine, which is why I take a bow and I mark it. Just because otherwise it disappears like so quick. So if you are somebody who is working along with the kit, right now what I'm going to do is just break down our ruscus and cut everything at the very, very base. Okay. And kit or no kit, if you are looking for like a really special type of greenery, I mean, I shop with wholesalers as well. Like this doesn't exist to my knowledge, or that I've seen so far. This is an absolutely amazing product, and I feel like for when you're doing like floral arrangements with it, I love it because up close, again, like it's incredibly lifelike. Carolina, I'm so with you. I am so with you. So she and Julie Samaco are like teamed up for Wreath Makers Live. And I went to Wreath Makers Live in 2021. And you know how amazing it is to be just surrounded with people that share your passion? Like sometimes you're like, oh, is it like weird? Like I make wreaths? Like, no, it's not. It's like we do fill our purpose. Like we all know what our why is. And for me, it is like, I love for people to feel proud of their home. I love for people to feel like they're making an atmosphere that they want to raise their families in. You know, it just makes people feel good. Like, you know, you don't have to have the biggest house on the block to have like a house that just looks very like loving and warm and welcoming. And wreaths do that. Okay, so I'm going to work as I talk. So I'm going to start at the top corner, which is kind of like my muscle memory thing. Yeah, like I think a toxic trait as a wreath maker is when I'm driving, I cannot help but look at people's doors. So my house certainly isn't $1 million home, but when I drive by one and it has a Marshall special on it, like that thing, if you know, you know, there's like this thing that they sell that has like burlap ribbon with like 3 hydrangea blooms on it. And everyone on the block has it. And I'm like, why? Why spend that much money on a home and then not like do it justice? Like let that house shine. And that's where we come in. Because what we do is one of a kind, it's unique, it's handcrafted, and it's gonna last a heck of a lot longer than anything that was just like manufactured in China. It's just like, we're talking facts here. So as I'm going, I am kind of setting the parameters for our design. So our bow for this one is going to really just be coming down the side here. Just in case anybody is curious, because I know a lot of the time I kind of put the bow there and work around it. Ah, I said your name correctly. A lot of people call me Kara, and I'm like, I don't correct them because I'm like, I know, if you've been raised with like a Kara versus a Kara, I understand it's tough. And even at my last job, the woman I took over for, her name was Kara. So it's spelled the same way. So I'm like, ah. But if it's people I'm gonna, get to know and like be with for a while, I'm like, not a big deal, but it's Kara. It's Kara. All right. So this is all like super malleable. You always want materials. You don't want to be afraid that you're gonna break your materials. There's zero fun in that. And that definitely like stumps your creative, like just your creative flow. I'd rather like break something and fix it than be like walking on eggshells trying to use it. We're not judging, but we are judging. I know. Somebody told me once that when they see like those really, really ugly wreaths in like home sense that they leave their card like near it. And I'm like, I watch people like shop for them and I'm like, oh my God, it's so ugly. Like, what are you doing? But if you don't know any better, or you don't know that like there's value in somebody who's actually going to feel responsible, like if you're a seller, I'm sure you feel responsible. Like you don't want to give somebody a wreath for 3 weeks. Like if you look at the fine print on a Williams-Sonoma, who are some of the others? Williams-Sonoma is like the biggest offender, I would say, to saying like, leave your wreath out of the light, dust it, out of the light, covered, indoors, and then you still only have a 1-year warranty. And I'm like, just say it. That wreath's gonna fall apart. And you're paying a lot of money for anything at Williams-Sonoma. And I love Williams-Sonoma, but I'm going to stick with their cooking. Their cooking equipment, I am not going to buy anything like that. Anything that needs that much of a disclaimer on it is just warning you. Like, or it's covering its own, but that it's not going to last. And that's why people come to Etsy. Because they know that when we're making things, we're not making it just to make it. It's not like just something that we're just like cranking out. It's something that we actually believe in and feel strongly about. We're passionate about what we're doing. And we want our customers to be happy. There's like an actual face on the other side of when you make an Etsy sale. And that's what makes Etsy so special. So one of the things when I was watching that SEO panel from Etsy that I thought was interesting, because okay, I got some like new information that I just hadn't applied. One of them was, yes, I think most of us know we always want to use up the 10 photos, okay? But they want to see like behind the scenes. They want to know who's making it. So they want a picture of your workshop or just like your hands with the materials. So they want customers to be able to make that personal connection. So what I did, just to kind of keep it simple, because, you know, listing a bunch of things, I know it's like another hat for us all to wear, is if you're doing it on your phone, just create a little folder of like Etsy stock photos and have a couple pics of you, a couple pics of like maybe your like workbench, your workspace. And then every time you go to list something, yeah, you may have 4 pictures of the item, but you also have like a little library to choose from that's about you, okay? So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing that I thought was interesting is they do not like duplicate words. which that kind of wasn't how I was like trained, or that's not what I thought. I thought it was okay to put like wreath, wreath, wreath. No, they don't want to see that. They want to see like all different verbiage. Melissa from TCT Crafts told me a good exercise for that is to take a wreath and just list off 20 things, okay? So, you know, cream flowers, peonies, ruscus, like all these things. And then as you're filling out your tags, you just keep crossing them off, and that's how you create them. So I'm not going backwards. I mean, if you have a listing that you think is like really like it should be getting more attention, and then by all means like go for it. For me though, I'm like, I just would rather start this practice moving forward. So they do not like duplicative words. They also don't want long titles, which again, I felt like you were supposed to use up every single character. They want concise, okay? And it doesn't mean that how we were taught is wrong. It just means like things are just always changing. All right, so we're gonna go in with these peonies. I have been like going bananas. I have these peonies in cream. I have them in watermelon. I have them in, I don't know if it's fuchsia or magenta, but I'm like obsessed and I'm hoarding them, and I am barely using them in designs right now. But we're gonna start off with these, okay? So, ooh, I should have, let me see. When you see how much quality you get for the price, it's amazing. So I'm sorry, I just want to take a moment. Okay, so these bushes are $9.95 before you use your code. Okay, so we're talking $10. Use your code, they're $8. Like, look at how much like detail is in this, and also how much space is this going to take up versus you like filling things in with all sorts of small things. Like, these are showstoppers, okay? So the value is beyond amazing. All right, so I am going to start in the top corner. I love to talk about muscle memory because it's just, the more you do something, the easier it gets. So if you're watching Lori make bows or John Mark make bows, like it just seems like, oh my gosh, it's so easy. But I'm sure it's all muscle memory and practice. I mean, literally speaking from people without any authority, but I get the sense that that's how they make it look so easy. Amber, hey. So I'm gonna leave, Jerry, I'm gonna leave the left side open. And if I didn't have the ribbon and the bow, we definitely could have gone like all the way around. So it's not a stupid question at all. And actually I started thinking about that earlier, that, you know, we can definitely do designs that don't have bows that'll be absolutely amazing. But I was like, oh, I don't know where we're gonna put this big bow if we, you know, don't do it crescent style. All right, so one up, one top. There we go. I'm gonna put one in the middle. And you always wanna kind of have like an active count. So for this, I know we have 5, so I know I have to be like cautious about how we're using them. Not cautious, but mindful of how we're using them, okay? So I always like to give my flowers like a little head tilt. It's how flowers grow in nature, and it just, again, gives it that like natural feel, okay? So this little lady, she's facing up. Actually, she's a big girl. And then we're gonna have this one that is going more off to the side. And then we're gonna repeat that down below. And we have so much greenery to fill in with this. I'm gonna pull this a little bit closer. I have been like telling you guys, so the glue that I use in my glue gun is Gorilla Glue. Like, of course, great name, great product. But in the glue pot, I used Surebonder glue pellets, and I swear that recipe has changed, because if you do not pull something very quickly, it is very, very hard to pull out. I was working with something earlier, and I can't tell you, I popped the heads off of so many things. Okay, so. Here we go. So when we're doing patterns, start with the bigger things first, okay? Now, we have white roses to do, but before we do that, I want to start peppering in some of our greenery. So this kit came with 2 of these boxwood bushes, and I love them. I love boxwood. I love artificial boxwood because it doesn't smell like cat pee. If you know, you know. Working at a florist, I was like, oh, I can't wait for that shipment to arrive. It's not a pretty smell. You know when you're walking by boxwood. All right, so we're just gonna break this bush down. And I guess since I have my list here, I can tell you. So these boxwood bushes are only $4 before the before the promo code. So if my math is correct, which is probably not, I think it's under $3 a bush, okay? And it's short, but it's going to absolutely like be a perfect filler bush, okay? So I'm just gonna push all these down and then go through and just snip them off one by one. Let me just shift this down a little bit. Jerry, you're so nice to me. I swear sometimes if I thought my mom could handle having like a pseudo name, it would be you, but she can't find her email most of the time. So I'm like, I know it's not you. But gosh, when I see your messages, and this goes for so many people in our group, it makes me feel so happy. I feel incredibly lucky to have you guys. So muscle memory means we start at the top. Okay, and then we're gonna mirror it. OCD at its finest. It keeps us nice and balanced. And I'm just gonna go through, I'm just gonna start filling in these areas. So I kind of created like a new rule for myself recently, which is like I like to have a minimum of 3 greenery, because I just love like layer upon layer upon layer. So, and I keep saying ficus is like my new like baby blanket. I can't get away from it. I can't do it. But I think that greenery, even though it seems like it's not as important as the flowers, in some way it like absolutely is, because if you have greenery that looks like really unnatural, then it kind of tanks your whole thing. Just like if we have, you know, a floral and I don't like the greenery, I pull it off. Like I pull it off with a reason, because it's going to totally deter or detract from like what the actual product is. Again, if you're somebody with this kit, you might find that I actually overdid the greenery. I do my best to like judge, but you know how it is. You know how it is when you go into a store and you buy way too much stuff. Oh, and I want to tell you guys that, okay, well first I'm going to ask you guys a question. Have you guys seen the viral bunny topiary? So that's my first question, and I'm gonna wait. I'd like to get some answers on that, because I don't know if I just went like fangirl crazy this morning or what. I don't think I did, But I want to know if like you guys have seen it. The topiary is made of like artificial boxwood, like what we're using right now. And it's super, super cute. And I like that this greenery, it's got these lightened ends. You can hear Steve. Steve is our smallest and most angry dog. Okay, so you have seen the viral bunny. So I saw it this morning, and this woman must be like beyond lucky because her husband saw the viral bunny in Walmart and he surprised her with it. Like she didn't even ask for it. She didn't even know it existed. He saw it and he was like, my wife would love this. He brought her home a pair. So I went on like a nut job, like searching through Amazon, Walmart, all this stuff. If you are going to get that delivered, it's not going to come until like the second or third week of March, like across the board from what I've seen. Okay, you can find it somewhere else maybe, and it would be a lot more expensive, but at Walmart it's only $35 and they're like this, 35 inches. So 35 inches, $35, yes. So I got 3. So I'm going to use 2 for my listings. So for all of my fellow sellers out there, I think that is going to make a listing pop. Okay, can't say for sure, haven't tried it yet, but if I got that excited that the first thing I'm looking at in the morning is trying to find these topiaries, I think other people are going to feel the same. So I bought the only 3 that were available at a store like way up in New Hampshire near Portsmouth. If you know, you know. It's like the higher end of where the ocean is, and I'm picking them up tomorrow. So because I have 3, I only need 2. So if you are on social media following me or aren't but want one, I'm going to be doing a giveaway with that. I don't have all the details because I haven't picked them up yet. Because I'm like, all I need is like one Walmart employee to be like, I could just like, you know, cancel this order. So until I have it in my hands, I can't really do a giveaway. But a giveaway should be coming. Yeah, just online. They're super, super cute. And Gina, as somebody who makes like amazing bows like you do, can you imagine like, I've seen them with like just a plain burlap bow, which is cool. But like, can you imagine them with like a big like, hey, like bow, like it's Easter. We want all the pastels. We want all the things. I'm like so excited for it. So I can't wait to pick them up tomorrow. All right, so now when we're working with the pattern, we start with our larger blooms and then we go in with our smaller blooms. Yes, Carolina, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. And I'm excited that I can actually like share it with somebody else because they're only $35. Like they're not like, if you get them on Amazon, it might be a lot more expensive. Even Walmart, you can order other ones, but like they're coming from China. Like they're very, very, they can be like hundreds of dollars. So $35. And if you are somebody who is selling on Etsy, you have to always think of like, you want your listing to speak to your perfect customer. Jerry, I'm always reeling you in. Gina, I would definitely like see if it's in stock. I actually checked several different states. I mean, you guys know I'm like kooky with the OCD stuff. I couldn't find it in the Carolinas. I couldn't find it in Cali. I couldn't find it in Georgia. Doesn't mean I like looked every city. I just kind of like did like a general like, hey, are these somewhere just not New Hampshire? And I really don't think they're out. I think that they're getting scooped up. So when we're doing our listings, we want to create that atmosphere that like makes somebody say like, this is how I want my home to be. Like I want my kids to know how fun and special Easter is. You know, whether we're talking about the Easter Bunny or religious stuff, like any of that stuff. Like for me, I could bring candy to church on Easter and my parents let it slide, and I was like, probably one of the best holidays ever. Because, you know how it is. If you know, you know. You can't be eating in church, but they let it slide. So I always like to think about all, like, when my daughter is growing up, like, trying to recreate that feeling for her of how special, like, these certain times of the year are. And so I think that if you're doing listings and you have those topiaries with you, I think it's going to, like, sway a consumer. I do. Hobby Lobby, I guess, had or has some. It depends. Online, they do not have any. In person, again, like, anybody could strike it, like, at the right time. But the Walmart one is the one that, like, went bananas. Jerry, you kill me. You kill me and I love you for it. All right, so I'm just kind of going in and peppering in. So we're doing some, like, a white and cream mix. Again, Etsy is saying that lime cream is their theme for 2025. And it's not like a mixed color, it's like two colors together. So, like, think of like key lime pie or something like that. Not like necessarily like a very pastel pale green. Which is why I wanted to do this, because I was like, it's so interesting. And I can share, you can actually go back and watch that SEO panel. It was very eye-opening, because whether or not it's the way we've been doing things, it's the way things are now. And that's what matters most, is like, we need to stay on top of things to stay relevant and to keep our shop in the algorithm. All right, so now we're gonna use these little beaded grass, okay? And we all know these things are like the rage right now. So the amount of texture that they provide is just incredible, okay? So we've got some, like, different coloring to it, but then we also just have, like, all these little, like, individual pieces of foliage. It just makes it very special. This is a pusher, finding out now. So I always love a pusher, because that way you can kind of control how, like, concentrated or how airy something is. Because these have, like, shorter stems, I definitely want to push them upward. If I was doing a floral arrangement, I might feel different, but for this, yes. Let's make sure I put this in. Okay. All right. So I want to make sure I'm putting this throughout. So I'm going to start in my top corner. And I like I call these things disruptors. I like that we have different types of greenery or different type of textures that actually, like, separate flowers. Having, like, flowers smushed together, one, it's probably not cost effective, but also, like, it doesn't give me that, like, natural feel. Like, when things grow in nature, they grow messy. And it's like a beautiful, like, chaotic mess. You know, like, if I had a garden, if I could keep things alive that long, I would absolutely just, like, let everything go, like, however it wants to go. And I always like the ends of our designs to have, like, something special, like, that just kind of trails off. I just think, I don't know, it's like a lingering thing. It's something I like to see. And because we have all of these greeneries, they're getting stacked upon each other. So we have, like, our boxwood stacked on top of our ruscus, which is stacked now under our beaded grass. Okay. And that's why we're not aggressive when we push. But if you should push too fast, you just take your stem, a little bit of glue, and reassemble. Not as easy as flowers, but it certainly can be done. Does anybody else feel like no matter what time of day it is, you find yourself like with glue on your fingers? Because I feel like my clothes and my hands like always have glue on them. All right, so let's see. We're gonna put this aside for now. Let's do 2 more pieces. Let's do one up here. And let's just mirror that below a little bit. When you see a lot of glue hairs, probably means that your glue pot is running on the low temp side. Mine was like smoking because I, again, tried to put like too much pressure on him and get him like going with very little notice. So now he's on the low side, so I'm getting a lot of glue hair, so I just have to turn that up a little bit. And if you're not working with a glue pot, I just want to say, like, it is so easy to just have like this easy flow of designing when you are working with a glue pot without having to like stop, pick up a glue gun, blah, blah, blah. All right, next. We are going to be working with these lime green leaves. Okay, lime green theme, lime green leaves. So I'm gonna pull these apart. Whenever you have materials, you don't wanna be afraid like that you're gonna ruin them. I know I say this all the time, but like I'm just not a delicate creature. It's not my nature. So if you should damage something, just like I damaged like that last piece of like beaded grass, it can all be put back together. So you want to get what you want out of it. You don't want to put something in like as a whole just because. Like you want to bend it to your will almost. So that's what we're going to be doing here. I can hear Steve outside. Angry. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to just disperse these throughout our arrangement, our wreath. Okay, and I'm starting in that top corner, but instead of going up, I'm actually going like forward with it. All right, so Gina actually is preferring the glue gun. I mean, it's really, again, there is no wrong answer. For me, I like to just kind of like go and then deal with like the aftermath of like all of the glue hairs and all that stuff, but it's whatever works for you, and that's the beauty of being creative. Is everyone has their own way of doing things. There's no wrong answer by any means. And I'm loving these. These leaves are like very, very soft. And Gina, I also appreciate you like saying that, because I feel like with our group, people are like very open to sharing like thoughts and ideas and like different techniques and all that stuff. Like there is no wrong ways. There's like no, it's not offensive to say like, that's not how I do it. Like I love that about like the whole group. Yep, so Caroline is also saying she uses both, prefers the pot, and then fixing greenery. Yep. And I'm the same way. I use the pot, the glue pot. Let's just get me banned off of YouTube real quick. I like the glue pot when I'm designing, but then at the end, I like to go back with the glue gun and just make sure like everything is like really in. Because like I like to trim the back of any of the stems and all that stuff. And for that, you need a glue gun. And Gina, you're just the best. You came in and you just like hit the ground running with this group, and I love it. And I love seeing your work. So one thing I wanted to mention, and this is like not specific to anybody, but when you're on social media, so if you have your shop name, obviously that's great. That's your business page. It's really helpful if you have your name somewhere, because it just allows people to connect with you on like a personal level. Sometimes I get messages from people and then I have to actually go to their Etsy shop because I'm not 100% sure who it is, only because there's just, you know, there's a lot of different like designers and a lot of friendly people on social media. So if you can have like your shop name, like Enchanted Vines, and then it says like Cara or whatever, like I find that to be helpful because it helps me connect with people like quicker or easier. Makes it more of like a personalized experience. What do you guys think of this whole like lime cream like theme? I think it's perfect for this time of year when people, I know some of you guys are enjoying 70-degree weather, but some of us aren't. So it like feels a little bit early in New Hampshire anyways for like all the pink florals. So I like having something that can be year round. And it can also go inside your house. It could be something that you put on a mirror. Like any of those things. I'm glad you like it, Carolina. Thank you. All right, so let's see. We have so many things to like, so many goodies. Okay, so we have, I may have gone overboard, but we did 3 of these gypsum bushes, which is like, one, Baby's Breath has made a comeback in general, but I also think this is kind of like the earlier stages of Baby's Breath. Forever, I used to tell like people to leave that out. People meaning my husband. I'm like, don't put Baby's Breath and roses and all that stuff. I don't like it. However, somehow, like so many things, it just somehow is very appealing again. What I like about this is that it's like an earlier stage gypsum bush. Let me see. Okay. This is $4 at full price. So we have 7 stems. That's a lot of filler. And that's not even including like the discount. So this is a super, super great value. And I may have included too many in the kit, we'll see, but my thought process was it's going to be breaking up the amount of greenery that we have. And I think this kit could be done like a million different ways. Like there's not like one way to do things. Like when I do workshops sometimes I look over and I'm like, oh dang girl, you went rogue, but it's awesome. Like it has to be something that you like. If you don't like it, or if you feel like you're just like going step by step because someone told you to, it's really not going to like light that passion that you have. Okay. Carolina knows math is not my strong suit. So one of these bushes is only $3.20. Okay, so say you were at a local craft store, like what would you get for that? Like it would not be, one, the quality wouldn't be there, but also that price wouldn't be there either. I feel like anybody who does math for me is just like, I'll be your friend forever. All right, so let's pepper some of this at each of the ends so that we know we're nice and balanced. I definitely love this kit for anybody who's like not super comfortable or they're learning about like which greenery and which like things create texture. I do think that texture is the difference between expensive and manufactured. Like I truly believe it. And when you're putting in texture pieces, it obviously like it does increase your cost that you have to then pass along to your customer. But when you find your right customer that appreciates it, like it's all worth it. I'm loving, loving, loving this. This is one of those things that like as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna hop online and see if any's left. All right, so we went through one bush. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna clip off the second. All right, snipping these off. And while we're doing this, like, do you guys have any questions for me? Because I'm happy to answer. I know for like the membership group, we need to get a Zoom call going. We've done one before, but I'd like to get another one going because as much as I love YouTube, it's just like such a one-sided like platform. And I feel like when I see the work that people in these groups are doing, I'm like, yeah, there's so much talent. Like there's so much to share. The difference between cheap and stunning. Okay, great question. I think a lot of it has to do with like what, I guess our view is of it. So, and please don't give me any hate for this. I know people do a lot of like beautiful things with like the dollar store things and all that. And it's not a knock at all whatsoever. But if I'm looking for something that looks to me like real flowers, like I know what looks real and what doesn't. And so that's kind of up to me to decide that and present that to my clientele. But with that being said, if someone has a clientele and you can continue to like put out work and make a great profit margin, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, like at all. So it's really like, who's your target audience? Okay, so like for me in my dream world, yes, I have like my one Real Housewife. I would love to have like a bunch of them. Like if those are my like customers, like all Real Housewives of Orange County, I'd be in heaven. So like that's kind of like who I'm trying to get to. But also sometimes you need like something that just like keeps the lights on. So my dad works for a grocery chain forever. And so he's always like all over me about like, well, what did it cost? What is your formula? What is your inventory? I mean, basically the things I don't want to deal with because I just want to like be creative. But one thing you said that does resonate with me is, he didn't say this, his boss did, was that yes, quarters are great, but a lot of dimes can also be better. Meaning, yeah, like it might not be a big sale, but if you keep getting them over and over again, especially on Etsy when like multiples are super encouraged, then like that's a good business model. And for right now, I feel like for me, things have been slow. So for Etsy, I'm trying to reboot something that I had like actually tried to like steer away from. It was what I think I've sold. Oh my gosh, on Etsy alone, I sold almost 250. And I don't even know, like, aside from that and things that didn't run through Etsy. So my point is, like, it didn't excite me and I wanted to get away from it. However, when we get like bored and restless, we're not always thinking about what our actual like business model is and what's going to be successful. So right now, this girl is doing a reboot on her monogrammed wreath. And looking back, it's on Etsy alone. Okay, so again, not on any other platform. Like, I sold over like $22,000 worth of this wreath that I just don't necessarily feel passionate about making. Like, but like, what's the harm in that? You know, it takes me about 20 minutes. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I like to like just go off and do my own like whatever, you know, big thing. But when you need to have like regular income and you need to have regular traffic, like you have to go back to like the basics. I love it. Sonia's saying if this wreath were a girl, she'd be the one walking in the room and all the haters would be glaring, pretty much. I love it. I love it. So the last greenery that we're going to be using, okay, so again, we have excess. So we have, and everybody's going to make theirs differently. Your wreath frame's going to be different. It's going to require different things. So right now we have about a half of a beaded greenery, one full of these gypsum, and maybe we'll use them, maybe we won't, and then a little bit more than half of the ruscus. So, oh, I did not just put it in my glue pot. Okay, but we know I did. So now we're gonna go with trailing ivy, and I love trailing ivy because one, it's so natural. I don't know about you, but when I see like a building that has it like just like creeping through or like crawling down it, it's something about it. It totally like lights me out. So for this, we have some hanging ivy, and let me see the price. So go back real quick. Ruscus, sorry. It would be $8 after the code. Strongly recommend. The hanging ivy would be $4, which there's a lot. So especially I love using products like this for floral arrangements. I always love like that draping feel. And for something like this, you're gonna probably cut it up into multiple pieces and get a lot more out of it than just like 3 stems. So let's go. Okay, and if you feel like a piece of foliage is like in your way and it's going to like detract or be hard to like put in, just like pluck that leaf. It's okay. So for this, we want that trailing ivy feel. Sonia, you are like one hot ticket lady. I may not tell you enough, but you certainly are. And I love it. With this Surebonder glue, I do swear, if you do not pull it quick, it is going to solidify and be so hard to disrupt. So hard to disrupt. So I get mine just through Amazon. I just do it like a subscribe and save, so it's like, I don't know, 5% savings, because I know I'm always going to be using it, so it's like a safe bet. All right, so let's just mirror this. So anybody who did buy this kit, I would love to see what you made out of it. Because I think that, again, going rogue is just like, it's just that creative spirit. Like, I love when I'm doing a workshop and someone's like, yeah, I did something totally different. I'm like, you go, girl. Like, it's your wreath. Don't do things that you don't want to do just because. You want people to actually enjoy the process, and you want them to feel good about it. Like, we might admire other people's work, but it might not also like be exactly what we would do. Something about ivy I just love. It's like airy and creeping. Love, love, love. I'm grabbing a piece of ruscus. We're going to go back to this only because I feel like my edge up here is a little bit weak. Again, the beauty of having like so many different things to like choose from. All right, so I feel like she's looking good, and we have used up, we definitely have excess. So we have like an extra gypsum bush, we have almost a whole ivy, ruscus, the beaded greenery. So we still have our bow. Okay, so what I am going to do for this one is I'm just going to be tucking it in here. This is one of the ones where like the flowers are kind of the star and the bow is playing a supporting role. And you can design this a million different ways, and you could put your bow right in here and build all around it. Like, there is no wrong answer. You do this because you love it and it makes you happy. So whatever makes you happy is the right way. Make sure your tails are all facing forward. Well, good for Etsy, because I do like their lime cream. Like, I like the whole theme. I think that's beautiful. So I am loving these materials. I want to thank TMI Gifts once again for putting up with me and working with me and letting me fulfill my dream and share it with other people. But I hope you guys enjoy this. There is or was one kit left on tmigifts.com. Use promo code KARA20 and save 20% off of your purchase. And if you guys have any other questions, you know, whether you put them on social media or through here, yes, and Amber, you're 100% right. Materials can like make or break. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.